Yeah.
Let them figure it out. That took no time at all. Holy cow. Very nice.
Should see Kevin's house. He's got a beautiful fireplace wall. A very Christmassy.
I just installed it 30 seconds ago.
Hey, Kevin, can you hear me? It's Michelle.
Yep, I can hear you, Michelle.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Merry Christmas.
Same to you.
You look very festive.
Thank you.
Trustee Dean. Look, the assessor's already in a warmer climate.
Dan, just so you know, this is Kevin. I'll have a department report just to give you a heads up on that. Yep.
I got something from Parks and Rec too, Dan.
Hey, Dan, I don't know, you can hear me okay? So I have a couple of things for the police liaison. I think Anderson has one additional thing as well. Or Hank, do you want to just cover it all?
You covered the equipment part there, and I'll take care of personnel, Dave.
Well, you know, it just gets difficult with the handoff. Why don't you go ahead and cover it?
No, you do that. You do that. I feel like you're lucky.
Okay. Thank you.
They have a piece for the library too. I mean, sorry, Historical Society.
All right.
But no, I mean, so far, luckily, everybody's good up there, but we hate it. I don't know if I ever forgave myself, not knowing if I had it, later, right, and gave it to them and was decent. So it's another, with everything rolling out, another, till spring, you know what I mean? Right. So what's another? Few more months. 4 or 5 months. Right.
How old are your parents?
Dad is 64.
Oh, yeah, so he's young.
Yeah, 65. My mom's turning 63.
Right. So for us, it's, I mean, yeah, we could probably get it before. I'm surprised, we've been both working since March, but not even anybody from my work has gotten it. We've been pretty strong since March.
We've been, well, my whole unit, I've worked from home before this, but now they consider me a non-essential employee, so I'm mandated to work from home, right? Which didn't change my job.
Well, my sister's a nurse practitioner, her boyfriend ended up with COVID. He self-quarantined in the house away from them because she's a nurse practitioner for a load.
Hey, somebody's talking. I don't know who it is.
I'm working on it soon.
Call to order the regular board meeting of December 22nd, 2020 at 7 p.m. Please recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Still the hardest part of the Zoom meeting appears to be the pledge. Roll call. Clerk Barry, please call the roll.
Supervisor Acciavatti.
Here.
Treasurer Elliott.
Here.
Trustee Anderson.
Here.
Trustee Demink.
Here.
Trustee Joseph.
Here.
Trustee Vosberg.
Here.
Clerk Barry is here.
All members are present. Item number 5, presentations. We do have a presentation tonight. Clerk Barry.
Charter Township of Chesterfield Proclamation recognizing the retirement of Dean Babb, Assessor, and honoring him for years of outstanding service to Chesterfield Township. Whereas Dean Babb started his assessing career at Oakland County Equalization in 1974, retired from the city of Farmington Hills in 2010, and was a Michigan Tax Tribunal hearing officer for 2010 through 2011, and joined Chesterfield Township as the assessor since 2011. And whereas Dean graduated from Oakland University, Bachelor of Science in Business Management, minor in Computer Science in 1977. And whereas Dean was a member of many professional affiliations, member of International Association of Assessing Officers, IAAO, since 1980. Served as an executive board member of International Association of Assessing Officers, IAAO, 2007 through 2008. Member of Michigan Assessors Association, MAA, since 1979. Association President, 1996. And Most Valuable Member, 2004. Member of Southeastern Chapter Michigan Assessors Association, SECMAA, Chapter President, 1991. Member of Oakland, Wayne, and Macomb County Assessors Association, Macomb County Chapter President, 2018. And whereas Dean is a certified instructor for the State Assessors Board and a State of Michigan Master Assessing Officer, certification number R2800, MMAO certification since 1983. And whereas Dean moved from Auburn Hills to Chesterfield Township in 2013 with his wife Ann of 32 years, together raised 2 children, Gregory Babb and Colleen Meister, and enjoy spending time with their 2 grandchildren, Madeline Meister, age 7, and Veda Babb, age 2. And whereas during his time at Chesterfield Township, he was instrumental in establishing Chesterfield Assessing as one of the premier assessing jurisdictions in Macomb County, implementing our SAD program, and also bringing a wealth of knowledge and experience to Macomb County itself. Now therefore the Charter Township of Chesterfield does hereby express its sincere appreciation and gratitude to Dean Babb for 9 years of dedicated service to the township. We wish Dean and his family the very best in retirement. December 22nd, 2020.
Do I have a motion to approve the resolution of tribute?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Trustee Vosberg, support by Trustee Demink. Discussion. I have one. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Trustee Vosberg.
Thank you. Dean, listening to the long list of accomplishments that you've had and organizations you belong to and all the ways that you've made a difference in your field over the years, it makes me regret the one time I voted against one of the recommendations you made to the board. But I knew it wouldn't have any impact on anyone in the long run, but I do so appreciate all the work that you've done for us over the years, and you really did bring our department up to the level that it should be. In fact, other townships don't even have this high of a level. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Any further comments from the board? Trustee Demink.
Dean, it's been a pleasure working with you, and I wish you the best and enjoy your retirement, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Supervisor.
Trustee Anderson.
Yeah, Dean, I'm going to miss our little visits. You're always available. I have some questions regarding your expertise. You always shared that with me, and I wish you well, sir.
Again, thank you.
Any further comments? Dean, would you like to, Clerk Barry.
Dean, thank you so much for being such a huge part of us getting that SAD system under control. And now I think we just have one of the best anywhere in the county. And I want to thank you for working with the clerk's office to make that happen. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you. It's been an honor to be a part of Chesterfield for the last almost 10 years. It started out as a summer job in 1974. It ended up being a 47-year career. So it's the longest summer job in history. I will miss the people that I've worked with at Chesterfield. I hope that my wife and I get to have several years together of traveling and enjoying what we've worked hard for. So thank you all very much for the kind words. I appreciate it more than you'll ever know. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations, Dean. 47 years of public service, and your knowledge is unparalleled. your work ethic and what you've done here and throughout your entire career is really, really amazing. Please, actually retire. Actually, enjoy and relax, and you deserve it, my friend.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. We have a motion by Trustee Vosberg, support by Trustee Demink, to approve the proclamation for Dean Babb's years of service to Chesterfield Township. Clerk Barry, all those, actually, let's do it. Clerk Barry, please call the roll.
Trustee Vosberg.
Aye.
Trustee Demink.
Aye.
Trustee Anderson.
Aye.
Trustee Joseph.
Aye.
Treasurer Elliott. Aye. Supervisor Acciavatti.
Aye.
Clerk Barry, aye.
Thank you. Item number 6, department reports. Are there any departments that wish to update the board? I do have one, and then I'll turn it over to the board and the other department heads. And it's just on Brandenburg Shoreline on behalf of our facilities department. That's a picture from today of the Brandenburg Shoreline project. It is progressing on schedule. It is going very, very well. It is very important that the Republic remains on the path portion only of the park, as is. The entire Brandenburg Park is an active construction site. It's a very large project in scope. The majority of the park is under construction due to mostly the staging of the large amounts of material necessary and the sheer volume of dirt that needs to be removed and replaced for the shoreline restoration project. I'd like to thank the Great Lakes Commission, NOAA, and the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative for awarding us the $1.3 million to make this project happen. It is on schedule to be complete Memorial Day of 2021, and if it can open sooner, it will. Very important to that park remains close to the public. We have had some public safety issues out there, and we're trying to nip that in the bud. Any further department reports? Kevin Johnson or Director Johnson.
Thank you. Real quick, I sent an email out to the Township Board late last week. We found an account. We found an account where we accidentally overcharged one of the hotels in our township. So what happened there was we, obviously with the Water Rate Advisory Board, we came across this new equivalent meter ratio that we now use for all of our non-residential customers, and we inadvertently utilized the current or the equivalent meter ratio charge as well as our previous charge. So what essentially happened was those two multiplications exponentially grew their bill, and it was inadvertent. Somehow that came across to me, ended up not deleting one, and so we inadvertently overcharged them on their ready to serve charge. As you can see in the bill run, it was about $55,000. So it was an honest mistake. We went through all of our accounts, every non-residential meter account that's 2 inches or larger is where we're at right now. It's over 250 accounts that our staff has gone through in the last few weeks. We've only found one potential other error that may have occurred. It looks like it happened from a previous employee, but we're looking into that one right now. It's a minor one, but this was definitely, we apologize. We spoke with this hotel, and they were gracious enough to, understand. And we are doing our due diligence to make sure that all of our accounts are handled properly and that nobody else is being overcharged. And we are also going to be working with our staff to make sure that we have protocols in place to make sure this will not happen again, and that we have multiple people looking at these steps before they move forward. This has been happening for the past, it's over a 3-year span this has happened. Why it hasn't been caught, they brought it to our attention. When you're mass printing bills, we spot check audit. So this was obviously missed, but it's kind of hard to see those unless it's actually a glaring issue that is typically dealing with usage and not with a charge. So we're working on improving our processes to make sure this does not happen again. We're just thankful this particular vendor has been very gracious, understanding what has happened. And I just didn't know if the board had any questions, but we just wanted to make sure you guys were aware that we've found this out. We're making the proper steps to make sure this does not happen again.
Thank you. Any further department reports from department heads before I bring it to the board? Director Kirsten.
We were notified today at the Public Safety Department. We've successfully registered and now are certified with the Michigan Chiefs Association and law enforcement and the Department of Justice for certain standards and requirements that the Department of Justice has mandated for law enforcement agencies throughout the country. This certification came late today. What it means is we are in compliant with several mandates that the Department of Justice has required for law enforcement agencies throughout the country and including the state. So that certification I'll forward to the board just so for your records. Also, as you know, for the past 24 months, you had approved our ability to become an accredited law enforcement agency. 24 months, Captain McNair and some of the staff have been going through our entire police department policies and procedures, over 700 pages of them. Along with that, the review of every operational directive that we have ever issued, and whether it be out of date, it is now brought into compliance in current standards. And we're getting ready for an on-site evaluation. And this process, like I said, is 24 months. An on-site evaluation is where outside experts and professionals actually come to our police station, into our township, and they perform an evaluation on us and everything that we have reviewed, making sure that our policies are current and are within good practices. That schedule, Captain McNair just issued today. It is shortly after the first of the year. These evaluators will need to be in our building. I will reach out to you with that calendar. They're probably going to want some, I know they are going to want some elected officials' input. So I'll get that to you. Also, if you may notice today, we've been working on a high-tech camera monitoring system. We were fortunate today. We deployed it yesterday for a testing phase that we're in for about 30 days. It is deployed right now at Brandenburg Park. It's a 24-hour monitoring camera system. We've given access to facilities, and it already has shown some value to us. So if you do see it there, you can't miss it. If you have any questions, go ahead and reach out to myself. And last thing, we did bring in a new officer last week, Officer Kevin Trier. He is a replacement officer. Unfortunately, I wasn't able, due to the Zoom, we weren't able to bring him in front of the board, but I appreciate him being sworn in by the deputy clerk and also the HR department onboarding him. That is all.
Thank you, Director Kirsten. Any further department reports before I bring it up to the board? Trustee Domingue.
Supervisor.
Trustee Anderson, we'll start with you.
Yeah, two real quick here. Also regarding the Chesterfield Police Department, I'd like to commend Detectives Jason Doadowitz, Craig Suppan, and Julian Lee. They were awarded the Distinguished Service Medal by the Michigan Association of Police Chiefs for their investigation input into arrest of individuals that were wanted for a string of robberies in our township. They work well with other levels of government authorities to bring this to closure. I also have my Historical Society would like to thank the following for their sponsorship of the village decorations on the Winter Walk. That would be Kathy and Dwayne Vosberg, Mark and Doris Babbage, Wendy Jones, Robert Siebert of Siebert and Gillespie, Thomas Costello from Chesterfield Town Center, Anchor Bay Community Foundation, Barbara Richard, Magic Wand Fund, AEW Engineering, Jarvis Property Restoration, Linda Hartman, and the Chesterfield Township Treasurer's Office, specifically Treasurer Kathy Elliott, Ellen Clark, Jessica Ashley, Kerry Winfield, and Elizabeth Desmartis. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Anderson. Trustee Joseph.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Just sticking with the police department for just a moment. Wanted to bring the board up to date on some board-approved items, specifically the board's approval of the Able Electronics security cameras. They began being installed throughout the building last week. Those funds were approved in the amount of $67,000 back in October. The project is on schedule, and progress is extremely just a overall very smooth process. So the other board approved item occurred back on September 8th. We approved an amount of $206,000 to begin the installation of body-worn cameras, as well as camera hardware in the patrol vehicles. That project is also in progress and on schedule. The other committee assignment that I would like to bring the board up to date on is the Library Commission. As your liaison, participated in my first Library Commission meeting back on the 16th. And of significance from that meeting is the voting of officers. So Mr. Bell will stay on as the group president. And the other notable issue from the Library Commission is the passage of an ethics policy. I believe Ms. Mattson laid out a very strong argument for some future plans and the need to have a ethics policy in place. I think it might do well for our board to take a look at the Library Commission ethics policy. I was most impressed with the board members there as they were debating and discussing officer roles and who might want to serve. One of the newly elected board members pointed out that although her background lent itself to being a very good treasurer, she felt her relationship and her professional relationship with the bank that the library does business with precluded her. And it was pretty nice to see the awareness on this body. Unlike our policy, again, I think we recognize that our ethics have some potential add-ons. This policy had some real teeth in that it cited the expectations and then consequences for not following the ethics policy, which is something I've been a very strong advocate for. So very impressed by the Library Commission. Again, it was my first meeting, but the current officers will remain in their capacity with Mr. Bell leading the way. So nothing further, Mr. Supervisor. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Demink.
This is from the Leisure Services Department. We are pleased to announce the winners of this season's coloring contest. They are Madeline Gomez, Wednesday Lane, Zoe Murdoch, and Michaela Rada were the recipients of coloring supplies, movies, games, all made possible from our friends at Genesis Credit Union. Second, you can enroll your child ages 2 through 8 in dance classes hosted by Drop Everything and Dance Studio in partnership with Chesterfield Leisure Services. Visit our website at parks.chesterfieldtownship.org for classes, offering days, times, and fees, and to register. This program starts on January 4th. Also noted for the foreseeable future, the Chesterfield Township Senior Center will remain closed for walk-in activities. Look forward to taking reservations online or by phone by appointment only. 949-0400 extension 4 for a list of programs to register for. And last but not least, look for the township-wide newsletter to be mailed to residential addresses at the end of this month. It will be available online at the website. All activities require pre-registration and enrollment can be done online or in person. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Item number 7 is the consent agenda.
Dan.
Clerk Berry. Oh, did I miss one? Department report?
Yep. Township offices will be closed December 23rd, 24th, and 25th. We will reopen from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m.
on Monday, December 28th, Tuesday, December 29th, and Wednesday, December 30th. The treasurer's office will remain open until 5 p.m. on Wednesday, December 30th for your convenience and paying any taxes or doing other business. Township offices will be closed on Thursday, December 31st and Friday, January 1st. Remember, we have convenient ways to pay, either by paying online at chesterfieldtwp.org. There's a blue drop box out front. You may mail your payment, pay by phone by calling 844-973-1674. There is a service fee to pay by credit card or debit card, or you may pay by electronic check for a flat fee. Thank you, Supervisor.
Thank you, Treasurer Elliott. Clerk Berry.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I wasn't actually going to make any comments, but I got some information that I wanted to pass on to the board. The first item is that I received an email today from the Bureau of Elections alerting us that there has been a request for access to materials and potentially equipment that has been made to several clerks by the Giuliani legal team. Mr. Rudy Giuliani, obviously representing President Trump, is making that request for materials, to review materials and equipment. Our office has not received that request. However, even if we did, we've been advised that material and that equipment has not been released yet for inspection. So all of that material is kept for 22 months per the state of Michigan's record retention policy, and that which has been adopted by this board many years ago, actually. So that material is available, but it is not released until after all audits have been completed. So we are aware of that request. We have not received a request to our clerk's office for any of that material. We are aware of it, and we will make that available as soon as we are given clearance to release that material, should it be requested. Second thing is that I would like to very pleased to inform the board that Deputy Clerk Niza and myself have both received scholarships from the Macomb County Clerks Association. I have received a scholarship for the Masters Academy for Professional Municipal Clerks, and Deputy Clerk Niza has received a scholarship for the summer conference for the Michigan Association of Municipal Clerks. So we are very, very proud and very pleased to have received those scholarships, and that obviously reduces cost to the township for our ongoing education, which we all know is very, very important in our professional capacities here at the township. So just wanted to make the board aware of that as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Before I jump the gun again, are we done with department reports? Item 7, the consent agenda. Clerk Berry.
Item 7, consent agenda. All items under the consent agenda are considered routine by the board and will be enacted in one motion. There is no separate discussion of these items. If discussion of any item is required by a board member, it will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. Public comments on the consent agenda items are permitted. 7A, approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting of December 8th, 2020. 7B, approval of the agenda with addendum if necessary. Item 7C, approval of payment to General Code for Laserfish license annual renewal and support in the amount of $9,950 from GL number 101228934. Item 7D, approval of the payment of bills as submitted by the Finance Department.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Motion by Clerk Berry.
Support, Vosberg.
Support by Trustee Vosberg. Discussion. Clerk Berry, has there been any public comments submitted via the website, email, portal on the consent agenda?
Give me a moment, Mr. Supervisor, and I'm going to review that once again to make sure we have not received any items. We have not received any online comments on the consent agenda.
Motion by Clerk Barry, support by Trustee Vosberg to approve the consent agenda as submitted. Clerk Barry, please call the roll.
Clerk Barry, aye. Trustee Vosberg.
Aye.
Trustee Anderson. Trustee Anderson. Are we having some technical? Thank you.
Aye.
Trustee Joseph.
Aye.
Trustee Demink.
Aye.
Treasurer Elliott.
Aye.
Supervisor Acciavatti.
Aye. The consent agenda is passed. Item 8, public hearing. Clerk Barry.
Sorry, Mr. Supervisor,
okay.
I'm just having an issue with my,
We have a
ability
virtual
to
public
view.
we have a virtual public hearing tonight.
Yes, we do have a virtual public hearing.
Would you like me to read it for you while you get back on track?
That would be great. I
Or if-
appreciate that. Thank you.
Or if Deputy Clerk, conduct a public hearing to review the special assessment role and to hear any objections thereto for the proposed Edgewater Paving Special Assessment District Number 160. Do you have a motion to open the public hearing? Motion by Trustee Anderson to open the public hearing.
Support, Joseph.
Support by Trustee Joseph. Clerk Barry, please call the roll.
Trustee Anderson.
Aye.
Trustee Joseph.
Aye.
Trustee Demink.
Aye.
Trustee Vosberg.
Aye.
Treasurer Elliott.
Aye.
Supervisor Acciavatti.
Aye.
Clerk Barry, aye.
Public hearing is open at 7:28 p.m. Clerk Barry, have we received any emails or transmittals regarding Edgewater Resolution Number 5?
The only one that we have received, Mr. Supervisor, is a notice from our assessing department that there was one mailing that was returned to us as undeliverable, and that is for James Lebeau, L-E-B-E-A-U, parcel number 1509322799005 at 45970 Edgewater, Chesterfield, Michigan, 48047.
Thank you. Seeing no further public comment, there is an action item on this coming up afterwards where we can dive into a little further. I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Clerk Barry. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Treasurer Elliott. To close the public hearing, Clerk Barry, please call the roll.
Clerk Barry, aye. Treasurer Elliott.
Aye.
Trustee Anderson.
Aye.
Trustee Joseph.
Aye.
Trustee Vosberg.
Aye.
Trustee Demink.
Aye.
Supervisor Acciavatti.
Aye. Public hearing is closed at 7:30 p.m. Item 9. How are you doing on your technical end, Clerk Barry?
We're gonna see how this goes, Mr. Supervisor. I think we're okay. Item 9 is the regular agenda. Item 9A is to adopt Resolution 2020-37, number 5, for the Edgewater Paving Special Assessment District, SAD, confirming the special assessment role and providing for collection in annual installments for a 10-year period.
Do I have a motion to approve agenda item 9A, adopting resolution 2020-37, resolution number 5?
Motion to approve.
Motion by
Demink.
Trustee Demink,
Support, Vosberg.
support by Trustee Vosberg. Discussion. I can give a very quick overview. This is the fifth step. We passed resolution number 1 and 2 through this special assessment district as requested by the residents of Edgewater on April 14th. Resolution number 3 was passed on April the 28th, 2020. We set this public hearing for this date on November the 10th, 2020, and we are to resolution number 5 in the SAD process, which essentially finalizes the bids. The bids on the project did come in under estimate, and construction is expected to commence in the spring when weather when weather allows. This is a 100% resident-funded special assessment district, as this portion of Edgewater, or I guess the entire portion of Edgewater, is private. Any discussion? And Assessor Babb is here. Would you like one more shot at this after 47 years?
I'm good, actually. Thank you very much. Like I say, is any assessment role, and I teach special assessment classes for the assessors groups, and I always define the perfect assessment role as one that survives 35 days after the cost hearing with no objections. So since nobody objected to the cost hearings today, at the public hearing, we have a perfect assessment role that will stand once again. Thank you.
Thank you. I do believe that those statements represent the end of your public service. You are officially hereby retired.
Supervisor, if I may.
Trustee Joseph.
I'd just like to remind the board, when this project first came forward, the residents on Edgewater, this has been a very difficult path for them, and it can be sometimes very confusing. If you recall, there were a number of residents that wanted to know, how the SAD process worked, and it can be somewhat overwhelming. And I just wanted to, I didn't get a chance to thank him in the earlier portion of the meeting, but Mr. Babb played a very key role and an instrumental role, not only on this project, but as he has in explaining to residents with great patience the SAD process. It's overwhelming and can be, as I say, very confusing. And Mr. Babb, I think your ability to break this down in a very digestible way. It's 47 years of knowledge and information, and then being able to explain it to a resident who's going through it for the first time is commendable. And I think the process went forward without any objections because there were no surprises throughout all five steps in terms of the resolution. Residents were advised exactly what they could expect, and the estimates for the actual construction came in under, which is just a testament to the explanation and the professionalism that you handled this project. So thanks for your final SAD being an absolutely perfect rollout. So thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Joseph.
Clerk Barry, has there been any online email submissions from the public on agenda item 9A?
Give me a moment, Mr. Supervisor.
Any further board comments or comments from the folks in the Zoom meeting?
Mr. Supervisor, there have been no online comments submitted for this item.
Motion by Trustee Domingue, support by Trustee Vosberg, to adopt Resolution 2020-37, number 5, for the Edgewater Paving Special Assessment District. Clerk Barry, please call the roll.
Trustee Domingue.
Aye.
Trustee Vosberg.
Aye.
Trustee Anderson.
Aye.
Trustee Joseph.
Aye.
Treasurer Elliott.
Aye.
Supervisor Acciavatti.
Aye.
Clerk Barry, aye.
Motion passes. Item 9B.
Mr. Supervisor, if you wouldn't mind, prior to moving on to item 9B, I would just like to clear up one housekeeping issue. Because we are virtual meeting today, the rules do require each board member, when we had announced our roll call, we needed to say where we were calling from or where we were zooming in from, attending the meeting from. If it wouldn't be too much trouble at this time, if we could just go through the board members and have everyone just say their name once again and where they are at.
Okay, I'll begin. Supervisor Acciavatti from the Chesterfield Township Boardroom Chambers. Clerk Barry.
Clerk Barry, Chesterfield Township at my residence.
Treasurer Elliott.
Chesterfield Township at my office, at the board office, at the township office. Sorry.
Trustee Domingue.
Trustee Domingue at home in Chesterfield Township.
Trustee Joseph.
Trustee Joseph, I am appearing via Zoom through at my cabin here in Chesterfield Township.
Trustee Anderson.
Yeah, Trustee Anderson at my home in Chesterfield Township, aforesaid county of Macomb.
Trustee Vosberg.
I'm at my home office in Chesterfield Township in the county of Macomb, Michigan.
Does that suffice, Legal Counsel Anderson and Clerk Berry? Someone got a little rambunctious, I think, in the legislature when they passed that, that requirement.
I'd agree, Mr. Supervisor. That satisfies my requirements so long as Legal Counsel Anderson is good with that.
I'm satisfied.
Thank you. Item 9B.
Item 9B is a recommendation by Supervisor Acciavatti to appoint Michelle Wilson-Merriwether to the Parks and Recreation Commission with a term ending June 2022.
Motion by Trustee Demink? Support by Trustee Vosberg. I am, one quick one from me, I guess. I'm impressed and excited to recommend Michelle Merriwether to the Parks and Rec Commission. Her spirit and her get-her-done attitude, I think, will be an asset to our commission and our community, and I recommend the board's approval for my recommendation. Any comments on item 9B? Any public comments submitted via the internet email portal, Clerk Berry?
We have no comments submitted for this item, Mr. Supervisor, although I would like to make a comment if, when allowed.
Now would be good.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I would just like to say that I was very excited to see this item on our agenda today. I actually it was my privilege to meet Michelle Merriwether several years ago when she came to work for us as an election inspector, and she was wonderful. We were very pleased to have her. Couldn't have her this year because, as many of you know, she was on the ballot, so she could not work for us this year. So it was disappointing that we didn't have her this year, but I'm very pleased. I can tell you her work ethic's amazing, her dedication to getting it right, as you pointed out, Mr. Supervisor, outstanding, and I want to thank you for bringing forth this recommendation to the board. I'm going to be enthusiastically supporting.
Thank you. Any further comments from the board? Motion by Trustee Demink, support by Trustee Vosberg to approve item 9B as submitted. Clerk Berry, please call the roll.
Trustee Demink.
Aye.
Trustee Vosberg.
Aye.
Trustee Anderson.
Aye.
Trustee Joseph.
Aye.
Treasurer Elliott.
Aye.
Supervisor Acciavatti.
Aye.
Clerk Berry, aye.
Motion passes, and congratulations and welcome aboard, Ms. Merriwether.
Congratulations.
Item 9C.
Item 9, excuse me, Mr. Supervisor.
Oop, I can put it up on the screen if that'll help.
I appreciate that. Thank you. It's just hard to toggle back and forth between screens. Item 9C is to set a public hearing for Tuesday, January 26th, 2021 at 7 p.m. to hear comments concerning the allocation of the 2021 Community Development Block Grant as required by the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974 as amended.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Clerk Berry,
Support.
support by Trustee Vosberg. This is just to set the public hearing. That will be at the end of January. Any comments from the board? Any submittals from the public, Clerk Berry?
We have no comments submitted on this agenda item, Mr. Supervisor.
Thank you. Motion by Clerk Berry, support by Trustee Vosberg to approve item 9C as submitted. Clerk Berry, please call the roll.
Clerk Berry, aye. Trustee Vosberg.
Aye.
Trustee Anderson.
Aye.
Trustee Joseph.
Aye.
Trustee Demink.
Aye.
Treasurer Elliott.
Aye.
Supervisor Acciavatti.
Aye. Motion passes. Item 9D.
Item 9D is a recommendation to confirm the appointment of Kerry Beauvais, Deputy Assessor, to the position of Township Assessor effective December 23rd, 2020.
So moved.
Motion by Trustee Joseph.
Support.
Support by Trustee Anderson. Discussion. I highly recommend and am highly impressed by Kerry. transition from Dean with 47 years. I spoke a little too early, Dean. You got 4 hours and 20 minutes left on the job, so the transition's going to be very smooth. Kerry's work ethic, right when we saw this coming a year ago, getting her level 4, being the assistant director, is going to provide us with a very smooth transition and a very solid employee for a long, long time here in Chesterfield. So thank you very much. Any further comments from the board? Any public comments on this item 9D, Clerk Barry?
We have no public comments submitted on this item, Mr. Supervisor.
Any further discussion? Motion by Trustee Joseph, support by Trustee Anderson to confirm the appointment of Kerry Beauvais from Deputy Assessor to the position of Township Assessor effective December 23rd, 2020. Clerk Barry, please call the roll.
Trustee Joseph.
Aye.
Trustee Anderson.
Aye.
Trustee Demink.
Aye.
Trustee Vosberg.
Aye.
Treasurer Elliott.
Aye.
Supervisor Acciavatti.
Aye.
Clerk Barry, aye.
Motion passes. Welcome aboard and congratulations, Kerry.
Thank you very much, Mr. Supervisor. I appreciate it. I welcome the opportunity. Thank you.
Item 9E.
Item 9E is to approve a recommendation from Public Works to purchase garbage carts from Cascade Cart Solutions at a total cost of $18,750 from GL number 101000101.
Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Motion by Trustee Vosberg.
Second.
Support by, where did that come from?
Clerk Barry.
Oh, Clerk Barry. Discussion.
Yeah, Mr.
Yes, Mr.
Supervisor.
Trustee Anderson, I think, beat you to the
Sir.
punch.
I didn't originally support the GFL contract when it was presented. Now, I will, due to the holiday season, I will not make any remarks on it at this time. Almost immediately after this contract started, several of us are receiving complaints from our residents that the company refused to pick up the trash receptacles. They were out of whack with our ordinance. I don't ever recall that happening with the Rizzo contract in the past. Our residents are diligently paying their fees for GFL to pick their garbage up. And in essence, this program, I know it's a stopgap thing. This program is, again, their tax dollars are being used to purchase these things, our personnel to assemble them and deliver them. It's kind of, I think, an unfair or unwise use of the money. I don't know what the option is. I would hope in the future that when we negotiate with these companies that this aspect of the process is addressed. Thank you. That's the extent of my remarks at this point.
Thank you, Trustee Anderson. Trustee Joseph.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. My comments are actually, I have a couple of questions, if I could, basic ones. The estimate that I'm looking at indicates that the purchase agreement, are we changing the color scheme from the existing, or is Olympia Green our current, consistent with the current color scheme?
Same
That's
color.
our color scheme.
That's our current color, Olympia Green. And then the question that I had is kind of an addendum to Trustee Anderson. He talked about the township taxpayer subsidizing these carts. What do we incur in the way of cost per can, if you know, Mr. Johnson or Mr. Acciavatti? What do we incur per can out of general fund to deliver one of these carts? Because as it was indicated at least previously, this invoice from Cascade Engineering is not the finished product, if you will, that we have some assembly, obviously delivery, and we have costs associated with storing these. Do we have a dollar amount in terms of the cost to subsidize each one of these carts, Mr. Johnson?
I know that Director Bauer had a spreadsheet put together. I do apologize. I know you guys have asked for that in the past, and it did slip my mind to bring it to this meeting, so I do apologize for not having information available, but it is available and I can provide it at a future meeting. But I do apologize.
For the full-size can, if I told you that it cost the township taxpayer $40 to deliver one of those cans to a resident over and above the purchase price, would that sound reasonable to you?
It's possible, but I have to look at the numbers to confirm that. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, I'm not 100% either, but I'm pretty sure that's in the ballpark. And Mr. Supervisor, it is for that reason that I think the QBS team that put together and approved the recommendation to bring this contract forward should meet, because this is a really ineffective program. I know that the residents who purchased the cans are quite happy, and I'm sure that they are very satisfied. And in part, I believe it's because they are receiving a product at the expense of their neighbor. This program requires a very, I think, heavy burden to the non-cart purchasing taxpayer. The money to subsidize this program comes out of the general fund. It utilizes many township employees, in particular the most seasoned DPW employee that we have is decades of experience out delivering garbage cans all day. In addition, we now house these garbage cans as they await sale and delivery to the customer, our residents. We house these in a building that the township originally, when we mothballed and removed the gas tanks from the DPW building, it was with the intentions of preparing that site for sale so that it could bring in tax revenue. Instead, we've converted it to a warehouse for garbage cans. And this product is, as Trustee Anderson pointed out, this product is provided, delivered, serviced, warrantied through the existing single waste hauler contract. In fact, we required a contract addendum, a letter of understanding to attach to the existing contract to allow us to sell these carts, which GFL approved, and I don't blame them because they don't make a lot of money in these cans. And if you talk to GFL, they'll tell you they provide it as a service to their customer, but wheels break off, lids break, warranty issues, service complaints. These are all now being handled by township employees, and I don't even know that those costs are fully reflected in this program. So I like to see the township logo emblazoned on the trash receptacle, and I think that it is certainly a nice can, and it's. But I think what we should do is look at the contract a little more in depth and see about allowing all residents, all taxpayers to benefit from this cart program. If we're going to give away or substantially reduce or subsidize the cost of these carts at the one taxpayer at the expense of another, why not make it a universal? Let every resident have a can at the reduced cost, and make that a part of this contract rather than the process we're in now. I couldn't disagree with this program more, and as time goes on, it absorbs more revenue, more FTEs, more storage space, and now we're getting into from the initiation of this program, we're getting into the place where you can expect the lifespan of these carts begins to break down, and we'll soon feel the township employees who field these calls about lids breaking and wheels falling off. And now you're going to get into the service aspect of these carts. When somebody spends that kind of money on a garbage cart, they're going to want it to last. So nothing but headaches here, and unfairly subsidizing one taxpayer against another, pitting one against the other to subsidize this program. It's just not, it's not transparent. It's really not fair to the overall taxpayer. So I'll be voting no on this project.
Thank you. I will be making a pretty lengthy statement here at the end, but I wanted to see if there's any more board comments on agenda items 9E. Try to address a couple of the questions that were brought up. And if you do go back in time and take a peek at all the board meetings and the literally thousands of hours on our single waste hauler, I understand your positions, Trustee Joseph and Trustee Anderson. They've been very clear throughout the last 4 years of this and many of those, and I respect them. I'm just on the complete opposite side of the coin. I couldn't be prouder of this program, and I couldn't stand behind it more knowing what we've been through. And what we've been through is, we all know what this vendor was in 2016 mixed up with. We all know the QBS process that we went through to re-procure for the first time ever a single waste hauler contract for Chesterfield. We received multiple bids that were qualified. GFL was 44% lower than the next bid. So then you get into the details of what brought us the 5250 with escalators versus the other bids that were 44%. And the details were actually one of the most important pieces of when you're talking $70, $80, $90 versus the 52 where we started. Cans. We had a lot of discussion about how do we get uniform cans into everybody's hands. The contract would have gone, that's about a $1.3 million expense per can for the entire resident. So you need, presumably would need one for mixed use, one for recycle. Compost was not even an option, which was actually a very, very big problem. So this program, yes, it's not the best program in the world when it comes to, ideally everyone gets a can, and ideally we pay half what we pay now, and ideally we don't have to deal with this. But the reality is we are responsible as a local unit of government to manage trash pickup. That is not a county responsibility. That is not a state responsibility. We could argue that it should be handled bigger than us and it would be more efficient, but that falls on us. So the plan we have in front of us solved a very major problem. And that problem was finding a way to get durable cans that can be mechanically picked up by GFL. There's weight limits on these cans. There's size limits on these cans if they're not a can that can be picked up. So you nailed it, Trustee Joseph. GFL is not in the can business. They are in, and they're very, very good at the trash disposal business. Providing cans, they're not very good at. So hence, they don't want to be in this business. The benefit to us as a community, I think, is very, very clear, and that is less trash in the roads, less trash in the ditch, more uniform. To me, it says something having the Chesterfield logo on it. I think it means something. It's prideful. Long-term, older communities have pretty substantial varmint problems if the older cans are there. The perfect solution would be to fund a can program for our township. And I am all ears to doing that. Clinton Township some years back did just that. They jump-started a can program with about $1.5 million from their general fund to buy cans. Okay, we're back on. And when it comes to the, there was also a question, I think it was Trustee Joseph, about the cost. You do the best you can to nail cost for service. However, trash collection and policing our road right-of-ways, picking up trash out of our ditches, getting the trash out of our drains and waterways, that's a responsibility that falls on us and the residents through enforcement and good public policy. You don't make money on that. The only revenue source that comes in from that program is tickets for loitering and tickets for that type of thing. So I'm very comfortable with this. I'm all ears. If we want to amend APO 10-2019, that process is very simple to do. We can, if a board member wishes to do that, or two trustees wishes to do that, they just open up that APO. You can scratch out very quickly the current price and increase it or decrease it how you see fit. The employees that do this, yes, we are troubleshooting. Everybody knows the facility on Gratiot. There's a reason why that's sitting there, and most people in here know that. There's a big plans for the Gratiot and 23-mile road corridor, how that intersection may or may not look, and what's going to happen in that area. There would be an opportunity to offload that parcel, and that opportunity will be coming very quickly. It's a matter of convenience why they're stored there. Our employees, they're not doing other revenue producing things. They're doing facility maintenance. They're doing project management of facilities. There is the cost there is very difficult to track, just like it is on all these other areas when there's so many things. So I understand both of your guys' concerns. They're the same they were years past. I just strongly support this moving forward. Any further comments on the board?
Mr. Supervisor, I have an additional comment, but I'd like to wait. Obviously, I spoke in round one, so if there aren't any additional, I would like to speak in round two.
Any further comments on the board? I see none. I think it's up to you.
Thank you, sir. First, I want to say thank you for the way in which you answered the questions and responded to my comments. It really wasn't my intent to, resurrect arguments of years past, or debates, I should say. But I really am truly trying to understand the program, if you will. And I know that you said you're proud, and I know that you said you feel strongly about it, but the questions that I have are the same questions I've had for years, and I still can't get a number on it, which is, what does it cost? What is the cost? How do you know that you feel great about it if you don't know the cost? And the problems that you cited that this CAN program resolves, I have one that I think has some legitimacy, and that had to do with a recognition that subsidizing these cans contributes to a partial resolution of a problem, which is to get the cans into the hands of all of the residents eventually. So if it is something we understand that we are losing money on, and we do that as a service, I guess that's one position, but this argument having to do with the cost of picking up litter from the roadways and so forth, let's be clear. Every can that we offer is a exact replica of the service cart menu, if you will, that is offered by GFL. In fact, we had to meet the specifications of the GFL can in order to remain in compliance with the contract. It's why they have agreed to pick up our cans that we sell differently than a resident who purchases a can at a local, say, big box store. So these cans come in all shapes and sizes and different capacities, and GFL cannot match the equipment that they send out to the customer and the can with any certainty. So in order to have them accept our purchase, our contract addendum, if you will, or our letter of understanding, we exactly match the size, scope, and all the dimensions of the cans that they offer. And when I said they're not in the can business, what I meant by that is that they're not in making money on the can business. They right-size the price, I believe, having talked to some of their administrative team, to arrive at a break-even point. They don't make money on this can, which is why it wasn't a substantial revenue decreaser for them to allow the township to provide the can. They welcomed it because if anything, they're probably losing money on the cans at the price point that they put it at. Our cans are significantly less than that. And so talking about how it solved problems and sanitation issues and rodents and trash in the roadways, any resident who inappropriately puts their trash at the curb and it's now blowing into their neighbor's yard is violated the township ordinance. That has nothing to do with the cart. Every resident has a responsibility to put the trash at the street in a receptacle that doesn't create vermin and invite possum and raccoon and the sanitation problems. So I don't understand how this cart program, aside from the and I do appreciate the uniformity aspect and the I honestly don't feel an overwhelming sense of pride seeing the logo on the trash can. It doesn't do a lot for me when I compare it to the cost of getting that can out to the residents. So I guess the other issue that you mentioned, which I would like as a side note to know more about, it's something I clothed and scraped to get information for. You mentioned that there are a select few in the township who are aware of what that property will be at some point. As an elected official, I'd like to be part of that. I'd like to know more about it. So if we could expand the knowledge sharing to include elected officials, that would be great. But as it stands now, that parcel is doing nothing but storing garbage cans. And it is an impediment to the expeditious transfer or the sale of that property. It should be on the tax rolls. It's why we pulled the gas tanks out of there, to make the ground less toxic and prep it for sale. So, but for these garbage cans, I don't know where we would store them otherwise. I think the cans present an impediment. And again, the staffing, without being a broken record here, the staffing that's being allocated to deliver these township emblazoned cans is costly, and we still don't have a number on it. So I would like to take you up on the offer, and I would like to talk to you a little bit more about, I don't know the process for reinvigorating either the QBS team or how we go about a more long-term solution, but I would really like to be part of that, because this is, aside from feelings of pride and gratefulness, I don't see the economic value, and that's really what we're about. We have a stewardship of the taxpayers' money, and so I don't know that we can substitute it with feelings of pride. And I would like to put a number on that, and I would like to make a dispassionate decision about how residents' money is spent, because as I say, this looks like it's costing money. The only people in favor of it are those who have benefited from a reduced market value of one of these cans. They're purchasing the price significantly cheaper than they can at GFL, and that's being done at the expense of their neighbor. So the only argument that really holds for me, Mr. Supervisor, if this is the beginning to a process that gets a can everywhere, and we recognize that we're subsidizing that, I accept that. And the only thing left is to know that number. So I'll take Mr. Johnson up on that and try to understand a little bit more about what it costs, and then look to be part of the solution. So thank you.
Thank you. I'll just follow up quickly on that thing. Without trying to keep this as positive as possible, Trustee Joseph, we know the history, we know the QBS team, we know who wanted to participate and who didn't. So I won't get into any of that. But I very strongly support this. You very strongly oppose it. We're not going to change that. There's no use in going through that. But if you want to leave our residents with the only option that they had prior to this program, which is $36 a year, per year, to go through GFL for per can, and that's 1 mixed waste, 1 recycle, and 0 options, 0 for compost. You simply go grab APO 2010, 2019, present an agenda item to the board, and make your point. I'm very comfortable with this program. I am all ears to try and improve it. I would actually advocate for expanding it. Cost-wise, again, there's no use in us going back and forth, and I'm sure you'll want to talk again after this. Regardless if we're providing this service or not, we're going to have the same amount of employees. We are a heavily unionized workforce. The work, you know as well as I know, a lot of changes have been made. The cost here is very difficult to nail. It should be about a quarter of an employee for a year. I'm all ears when it comes to if you want to look at the process for this, maybe doing deliveries only in March and only in maybe a couple times a year. I'm all ears looking for a subcontractor. That's not GFL to do this because GFL is just not competitive, and our customers, our residents, don't deserve to pay if they get 3 cans, an extra $120 a year for this service when we can provide it for them with existing employees and resources to get us through this. And there's no use in us going back and forth on it, but I do appreciate your opinion. Any further, Clerk Berry, any comments from this item submitted via the internet portal or the email portal?
Mr. Supervisor.
I'll circle back with you after I check with Clerk Berry.
There have been no items, there have been no public comments submitted on this item via online, sir.
Trustee Anderson.
Yeah, thank you. I just, it seems, I gotta mention this right away. In the first 2 meetings of this new board, it seems like you want to resurrect discussions from the past, from your opinion and your view of things. I don't know what that has to do moving forward. I did not seek this position to be part of a group of 7. I'm here to represent the residents. With that being said, I appreciate your answer. Your answers earlier, quite a bit of a filibuster. They didn't answer questions that Mr. Joseph or I asked. You talk about Clinton Township, you throw that out there. They have 100,000 people there. They're about over twice as big as we are. Apples to oranges. I guess it's obvious you're very comfortable with this procedure the way it is. Again, that is the way you see it. I respect your opinion. I would hope that you would respect opinions that are not under your perusal. And with that, I'll call the question.
Motion to call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed by saying nay? Or do I have to take a record roll call on that, Cindy?
No, there's no record roll call required, Mr. Supervisor, but we should be, there's no record roll call required.
Yeah, and I don't even think there's call the question. Call the question.
Correct.
Clerk Berry, please call the roll.
Trustee Vosberg.
Aye.
Clerk Berry, aye. Trustee Anderson.
Question. What are we voting on? What is it called on?
Item 9E, right? Are we voting on the call to question or are we voting on 9E?
That's the question.
This is the question itself, Mr. Supervisor.
Nope. Aye. Aye. The question.
The question called. Okay.
To approve the item.
Okay. Mike, no.
Trustee Joseph.
Nay.
Trustee Demink.
Aye.
Treasurer Elliott.
Aye.
Supervisor Acciavatti.
Aye. Motion passes. Item 9F. Oh, sorry, Cindy.
That's okay.
There you go.
Item 9F is a recommendation to adopt Resolution 2020-36, a resolution of the Charter Township of Chesterfield Board of Trustees reestablishing a Cannabis Committee.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve is stated.
Motion by
Support.
Clerk Berry.
Joseph.
Motion by Clerk Berry, support by Trustee Joseph. Discussion. Public comments on this one, Cindy. I'm pretty sure that this one. I thought I
Yes, we
saw
do
one.
have one comment that has been submitted online on this item. Prior to that, Mr. Supervisor, I do have just a brief comment myself.
Okay, Clerk Barry.
Thank you. As the acting chairman and with co-chairing with Trustee Joseph of this committee for the last couple of years, I will say that this committee was very close to coming up with a recommendation, and then COVID kind of delayed some things, but we did make a presentation to the board. As the board may remember, we do have a new member in Treasurer Elliott, and I think that it would make all the sense for the committee to not only pick up our work where we left off, as I believe that we are very close to completing the mission that was initially stated in the original development of this committee and adoption of this committee, but also I believe that it will also allow our new member the opportunity to fully vet the issue, as it is very, very important and it is complex, as our other board members know, and would also allow that member to be able to do that. And so I would ask for support from the board. It's a very important issue for our community. It's very timely, especially coming up in 2021. And I would just urge all members to vote for this. I think that in order to get really good, sound public policy on such a critical issue, that I believe that this committee is the right way to go about doing that.
Any further comments from the board? A quick one from me. I am comfortable with continuing the Cannabis Committee to troubleshoot the complications of this issue. I do want to make sure that I'm clear. When I created this committee, I guess we did as a board, my expectations 2 years ago weren't completely met. The committee did very good work on kind of the big issue, the biggie, which is, are you going to opt in, are you going to opt out? I would like us to, moving forward, to dive into and focus on some of the more specific incremental policy changes that our community needs to navigate. Today, in the free press, there was a home explosion in Commerce Township, and it was done by processing of marijuana in a residential area. So that's one that you look at when our ordinance is up to speed. Do we have every tool we need to deal with the other problems that this new budding industry is bringing, such as commercial grow operations in residential areas? Combating that maybe with ordinances for our police and public safety department or our building department. Lots of communications going on with Macomb Township and Shelby Township, who actually, they kind of want to team up on this to deal with a very small focus of this problem, and that is commercial grow operations in residential areas. And not so just if you pinpoint on that one specific issue, knowing the complication that we're in, then we might be able to find a way to solve the problems with that. And it's very, very complicated. That's why this committee, I think, is very important. Every house in the state of Michigan could be a potential grow operation for up to 12 plants. 72 if you have caregivers in residential areas. Without the enforcement, without the no way to check, no way to combat that. And what other tools can we use, not only for if we opt in or opt out for the residential model or the recreation model or the medical model, but some of these other focus areas, some of these other specifics, I think would be very, very, very helpful. I would also like to see the committee give us maybe quarterly or updates as necessary as to the world around us. I know this, but maybe the public doesn't, because I watch this very, very closely on the LARA website, which ones are getting licensed, and I watch every surrounding community around us, and for which kind of licenses on both the medical end and the recreation end. And you'll see there's a big gap all around Metro Detroit. You move north, they're popping up all over. You move west, they're popping up all over. Well, the legal problems that are going on in some of our neighboring Macomb County communities, updating on that, I think would be very, 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 very good as well. So might have been a little long, but I'd like a little more little more focus instead of just on the main enchilada moving forward.
Mr. Supervisor, if I may.
Trustee Joseph.
Thank you. The issues that you raised regarding at-home operations, you're talking about the medical model, and you're also talking about the house fire explosion. I don't know how this committee can possibly really help you in that area, in the sense that this was almost week one of the committee, and I think Mr. Johnson was present. We had our fire chief, we had not only DPW, we had building, we had code enforcement, and we talked about the specific physical challenges, not only from Director Kirsten and law enforcement, but also in terms of potential problems. The extraction method that you're talking about involves the extraction of oils from the plant, involving a very, very, very combustible gas, specifically butane. And that is the source of nearly every extraction explosion that you can find involves a butane operation. None of those things are permissible within our township ordinance. These are not issues that are impacting whether or not we move from an opt-out or an opt-in. The simple fact of the matter is we have to decide whether or not we are going to modify our original knee-jerk position, which was to opt out and wait for research and legislation and direction from the state and perhaps the feds. That's really the clarity that brings some level of understanding, is what happens on a state and federal level. But the question of where the township goes is in a quagmire. We presented this, the committee presented this to the board just prior to sort of election season, if you will. One of our last official presentations, we heard from Mr. Siebert, and the presentation that was given by Mr. Siebert was very clear. You cannot possibly begin to answer all of the what-ifs for every conceivable issue while the township has adopted an opt-out position. So again, I'm more than happy to continue to serve. I've spent a lot of time trying to educate myself. I know Clerk Berry is in the same boat. We don't see eye to eye on a lot of things, but she is very knowledgeable in this area. And the hours upon hours talking with Mr. Siebert and other experts in the legal community really put us in a position where the township cannot really begin to explore options until the township makes a decision, and that is the elected officials, of whether or not we will move from our very strict and prohibitive opt-out. We opted out on all of the licenses, and until there's some change in that area, you're never going to get clarity on what this means or that means or what location. Or we did the best that we could over a 2-year period, and our planning department put together some really outstanding probable and possible locations based on setbacks that were consistent with neighboring communities. And we're still talking about lab explosions. We're not going to go, we're going to spend another 2 years chasing down all of these what ifs, when the real answer from all of the experts, including our House Counsel, is really until the township decides whether or not they're going to budge from an opt-out, you're just chasing your tail. And while we're chasing our tail, there's revenue that is going into surrounding communities. That is with regard to the negativities associated with opting in some capacity. They're already on our doorstep with none of the trimmings, if you will. So none of the revenue, we see none of that from New Baltimore's decision to begin in the cannabis industry. We see nothing from the decisions made by New Haven or Clinton Township or any of the other surrounding communities. So while we do what ifs, perhaps for another 2 years, I don't know, the simple truth is this committee cannot really expand or provide any real way forward until we make a decision as a board. Is there a majority of board members that believe we should begin to investigate something outside of opt-out? So is there something outside of just say no? because until then, we can bring in all the speakers and all the presentations, and Chief Craig can give you a chapter and verse on butane and the volatility. It won't matter because it's not a permissible operation, even if we were to approve, manufacturing or so. The question again is simply this: will we move past our opt-out and pursue other licenses, or do we just want to leave this in committee for a few more years? So happy to serve, but at some point we need to take action.
Any further comments from the board? Clerk Barry, do you want to clarify the resolution? You might need to do that after.
Thank you. And Mr. Supervisor, in the conclusion of the clarity, are you asking, or is the motion maker, is this adopt a resolution regarding the Cannabis Committee? I don't know who serves on it, or will that be a later date, or could that be part of this board action?
Clerk Barry, you could speak to that. I can speak to the resolution as drafted in 2018 because I drafted it. And that resolution,
Yes,
it was built of board liaison to the Planning Commission, board liaison to the ZBA, the planning administrator, public safety representative, which is Director Kirsten, and a full-time elected official, which was Clerk Barry. Clerk Barry, this is your agenda item. What changes, if any, did you make to the actual resolution that we're looking to adopt?
The resolution itself is virtually unchanged from what it was in 2018. There's some very minor changes in here. For example, let's take a look here. The committee in this case only has one, well, it says chairperson. Originally, our committee had a little bit of a different structure. I had co-chairs. This doesn't discount the possibility of a co-chair, but it only does call it one chairperson with the possibility of a second one. It's basically some minor changes like that. Otherwise, it's the mission in and of itself is primarily the same, and that is advisory only. That it has no jurisdiction or authority with respect to township ordinances or policies. Committee needs to hold periodic meetings for the term of its existence to perform the functions. It does not say there's regular meetings, just simply periodic meetings, and all meetings of the committee are in compliance with the Open Meetings Act, which all boards and commissions must be. So and it also, item 1 is to extend the Cannabis Committee, where the original resolution was to establish the Cannabis Committee. So this is simply an extension of that. And again, mission the same. The purpose is to develop and provide information, advice, and recommendations to the Township Board regarding the complex issues relating to marijuana and the Act. So it is essentially the same as the composition of the committee as well, as you pointed out, Mr. Supervisor, has not been changed either.
Clerk Barry, could you read the public comment or any public comments?
Sure. There's been one public comment received on this item, and that public comment is from Josh Williams, 46703 Heather Lane. Agenda item 9F. As both a resident of Chesterfield Township as well as a founding partner in a business currently pre-qualified under the MRTMA, I would like to voice my support for the reestablishment of a Cannabis Committee. Additionally, I would like to offer myself as an informational resource, both as a cannabis business stakeholder and resident of Chesterfield. Thank you for adding this topic to today's agenda, and thanks again for your time. Josh Williams, co-owner, Axiom Crafted LLC.
Thank you. Any further board comments?
Yeah, just a point of clarification, Mr. Supervisor.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I guess my misunderstanding was in the formation of the committee 2 years ago, there was a recommendation for specific members At least that was my takeaway, but as I understand it, and in looking at the motion, what you're really calling for is the members, as it relates to the, resolution. They are not individuals, they are representatives of the various committees that you reference. So a full-time board member, as I understood it, the planning commission liaison, and the ZBA board liaison from the board.
Correct.
Is that just so I'm clear? That's the motion tonight. Then just putting names to committee members. That would in essence be Clerk Berry, Trustee DeMink, and Trustee Vosberg as the elected officials serving on the Cannabis Committee.
Is that correct? Is that correct, Clerk Berry?
That would be correct, Mr. Supervisor.
Okay, just wanted to be clear on that. Thank you.
Any further comments from the board? Motion by Clerk Berry, support by Trustee Joseph to approve item 7F as submitted. Clerk Berry, please call the roll.
Clerk Berry, aye. Trustee Joseph.
Aye.
Trustee Anderson.
Aye.
Trustee DeMink.
Aye.
Trustee Vosberg.
Aye.
Treasurer Elliott.
Aye.
Supervisor Acciavatti.
Aye. Motion passes. Item number 10 is the addendum, and I would like to bring up something to the board here. We do expect an action item coming out of closed session, so I'd like to judge the board's temperature on moving closed session before public comments and board comments, or would you like to do public comments and board comments now and then go to closed session?
I like I'm sorry.
I apologize. Go ahead.
I like the idea, if you anticipate an action item, I like allowing the public, should there be anybody to weigh in on having the ability to comment on the conclusion of the board's business. So I would like to see that at the conclusion and do closed session first.
Is there any objection to that? And Clerk Berry, what's the process for doing such a thing?
Well,
And just if I could add, sorry, Clerk Berry, thank you, Mr. Supervisor, for making that point of distinction. I think it's worthwhile, and it is not a small issue, so thank you for that.
Are we okay?
Excuse me, Mr. Supervisor, I'll wait to be recognized.
Okay, that everyone's comfortable with that change? Or do we have to make a motion to change the agenda to do that?
Yes, Mr. Supervisor, that was my point, is that we did not make a motion to amend the agenda. I would be more comfortable in taking any of those actions. I'm not opposed to changing the order.
I'll make a motion to move item 13.
Thank you.
Past item number 10 and keep the rest of the agenda as is.
Support.
Motion by Supervisor Acciavatti, support by Trustee Joseph to move item number 13A in the agenda to just after item number 10 in the agenda. Clerk Berry, please call the roll.
Supervisor Acciavatti.
Aye.
Trustee Joseph.
Aye.
Trustee Anderson.
Aye.
Trustee DeMink.
Aye.
Treasurer Elliott.
Aye.
Trustee Vosberg.
Aye.
Clerk Berry, aye.
I'm getting my screen here in order. Bear with me. Item 13, closed session. Clerk Berry.
Yes, Mr. Supervisor, I was just going to make a motion to enter closed session.
Motion by Clerk Berry, support by Trustee Vosberg to enter closed session. Clerk Berry, please call the roll.
Clerk Berry, aye. Trustee Vosberg.
Aye.
Trustee Anderson.
Aye.
Trustee Joseph.
Aye.
Trustee DeMink.
Aye.
Treasurer Elliott.
Aye.
Supervisor Acciavatti.
Aye. We are in closed session at 8:32 p.m. Please leave this Zoom call and enter the other Zoom call. can start back up. Do I have a, let me start my video and do I have a motion to re-enter open session? Oop, you're muted.
So moved.
Motion by Trustee Joseph.
Support.
Support by Trustee Demink to re-enter open session. Clerk Barry, please call the roll.
Trustee Joseph.
Aye.
Trustee Demink.
Aye.
Trustee Anderson.
Aye.
Trustee Vosberg.
Aye.
Treasurer Elliott.
I just let her back in, so give her 1 minute to connect to the audio.
No problem.
Please.
I'll call you Supervisor Acciavatti.
Aye.
Okay, Clerk Barry is an aye. We are just waiting for Treasurer Elliott.
Aye.
Thank you.
We do have an action item coming out of closed session. If somebody would like to read the action item, I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Supervisor, I would like to make a motion to retain the services of Pilot Property Grouip to investigate possible alternative sites discussed in closed session and advise the board with respect to the level of interest of the property owner in negotiating terms for the sale, lease, option, and to authorize the township supervisor to execute necessary paperwork to retain Pilot Property Grouip for the previously stated purposes.
Support.
Motion by Clerk Barry, support by Trustee Demink.
No,
Discussion.
that was David.
Oh, I'm sorry, that was
I'm sorry. I'll include my name. I apologize.
motion by Trustee Joseph, or Demink, I'm sorry, motion by Clerk Barry, support by Trustee Joseph. Discussion. Oops, you guys are gonna make a mess out of my typing. Clerk Barry, has there been any public comments submitted?
Just need a moment to check, Mr. Supervisor. There have been no public comments submitted on this agenda item, or on this item.
If you could, just read my, Clerk Barry, the motion maker, if you could just read what I typed on the screen to make sure it is accurately depicts your motion.
Yes, that's acceptable.
We have a motion by Clerk Barry, support by Trustee Joseph to approve the action item as stated coming out of closed session. Clerk Barry, please call the roll.
Clerk Barry, aye. Trustee Joseph.
Aye.
Trustee Anderson.
Aye.
Trustee Demink.
Aye.
Trustee Vosberg.
Aye.
Treasurer Elliott.
Aye.
Supervisor Acciavatti.
Aye. Motion.
Mr. Supervisor, we have no additional public comments submitted through the online portal.
Trustee Anderson.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome Ms. Wilson-Merriwether to the Parks and Rec Commission. Also congratulate Ms. Beauvais, our new Township Assessor. To our residents, Township employees, and my fellow board members, I'm hoping you have a Merry Christmas, an excellent holiday season, and a Happy New Year. Thank you, and I'll see you all next year.
Trustee Joseph.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Just a couple of comments tonight. One, I'd like to also welcome Ms. Merriwether to the Parks and Rec Commission. She was very active throughout the campaign season and after the campaign season. She seems to be very invested in our township, and I'm sure she'll serve the residents very well on the Parks and Rec Commission. As it relates to some of the issues on the agenda tonight, I appreciate the debate, and I felt that one of the things that we had been striving for and came up short on a number of areas was to conduct the meeting as a business meeting. And I've really put a lot of effort into trying to maintain the level of decorum that I think we can all agree is the most productive. But I do have to admit, Mr. Supervisor, we closed the last meeting. There was a reference to some concerns I had. I didn't appreciate them being categorized as ridiculous. I didn't appreciate the demagogue comment. That's not a business meeting. Again, overall I was okay with it. Tonight, as we debated the carts, you made a comment involving 4 years ago, and I think Trustee Anderson appropriately addressed that. But one comment that I would ask you personally to refrain from in the future, it's quite hurtful to me. This idea of there were those who wanted to serve on the QBS committee and those who didn't. I know that I've shared this with you on a personal level. At the time that committee was being formed, I was literally dealing with my in-laws who were in hospice. My mother-in-law was dying, and I shared that with you. There was no way I could serve on the committee at that time, yet it seems every time we get into a debate, those who wanted to be part of the solution and those who refused. It's hurtful. It's not in the spirit of a business meeting, and I let it go. I didn't rebut it tonight. I didn't respond with sarcasm, making an appeal to you. 2 meetings in a row, two comments that I do not consider to be business-like comments. I'm not accepting a third. I just want to be on record. I'm not accepting a third. I'm comfortable in a diplomatic parliamentary debate. I'm also comfortable bare knuckle if that's the way we're going to go. But I'm not taking any more shots. Not in the new year, not throughout the new year. That's 2. Third one, I'm going to respond in kind. And I would appreciate it if we could move towards what we said we wanted to do, which is to look for commonality. I felt the debate was okay, but as I say, that's twice in 2 consecutive board meetings. Third one, I'm not going to tolerate it with impunity. Lastly, I would just like to say Merry Christmas to my fellow board members and to our residents. I am curious to see where we go. I'm hopeful that we can focus on the things that bring us together. And I can't imagine 2021 being any more difficult than 2020. So I'll be happy to move into a new year with some new projects, and happy holidays to everyone. Thank you.
Trustee Domingue.
I'd like to welcome Michelle Merriwether to Parks and Recreation. I'll be looking forward to working with you. Also to Kerry Beauvais, congratulations, and I'm looking forward to working with you in the Assessor's Department. To all the Township residents, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And to Dan, Cindy, Kathy, David, Kathy, and everyone else, Hank, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Everyone stay safe and healthy. Thank you.
Trustee Vosberg.
Thank you. I would like to echo the comments and the names of previous speakers and wish everyone here on the board and in the community a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and a Happy New Year. Looking forward to 2021, where hopefully things will be looking better.
Clerk Berry.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Just would like to wish Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone. Happy holidays to everyone. I hope everyone's able to reconnect with family and friends over the holidays in whichever way you feel safe doing so. I think that that's been a big part of our lives for many of us that have been missing this year. And I think there's a lot of great benefit and healing that can come from that and just surrounding ourselves with those who we love. And I hope everyone is able to do that. Look forward to seeing everyone in 2021.
Treasurer Elliott.
Congratulations to Michelle Merriwether. I look forward to seeing her around the office here more often, and I know she's going to bring some great energy to the Parks and Rec Commission. Also, congratulations to the Kerry Beauvais. Wishing Dean Babb a happy and healthy retirement, and all of you, both residents and fellow board members, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you. The next board meeting will be on this same platform. We'll need to have further discussions as a board as this very difficult year comes to a close, and of how long we keep this up, and when we can get back together, we will. We were on the forefront of this, being safe and keeping our services going, and I intend to keep that way. However, our next board meeting will be under this platform. Appreciate your comments, Trustee Joseph. I will do my part. However, I also won't tolerate, they might not feel like it to you, but they feel like it to me, jabs and some other inferences there, and I won't let those go unnoticed either. But I will do my part to keeping these two business meetings. We got into a very ugly place for the last maybe 2.5 years of the last term, and I think we're off to a pretty good start here. And I think I'm just full of optimism for 2021. We've been through one heck of a 2020. There's a lot of really exciting projects going on throughout Chesterfield, and a long way for us to go, and we can only do it together as a team. Do I have a motion to adjourn, which is item number 13?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Trustee Vosberg, support by Clerk Berry. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed by saying nay. We are adjourned at 9:01 p.m. Merry Christmas.
Good night, everyone. Take care.
Good night.